I mean, the American Anti-Slavery Society, for example, was largely begun by people who were of no faith, people like Thomas Paine and Benjamin Franklin. The likelihood that you'd be a secularist and in favor of civil rights would be extremely high, almost 100%. The likelihood that you'd be an opponent of civil rights and be a Christian, roughly 100% the other way. Remember that the whole mandate for slavery and segregation is taken directly from the Bible, where it is warranted. Remember, the Ku Klux Klan is a Protestant identity organization. It's a specifically, declaredly, avowedly Christian Protestant group. If people are going to say that biblical inspiration is allowed, how are they going to say it's only allowed in their own case?
Let's go back to your general proposition that religion poisons everything. And you do tend to argue by analogy, anecdote, and example. So let me do the same thing here if I can. Like a lot of Australians, I've actually spent a good deal of time taking trips to the island of Bali over the years. And I simply find it impossible to imagine that Bali would be a better place if stripped of its religion. So I'd ask you just to talk to that, because to me, it's an incredibly appealing place precisely because the rhythms of life are maintained by a religious calendar and by strict adherence to principles.
Yes, I've been to Bali too, though mainly to investigate...
I don't know if you realise it's a song, but you probably do.
But mainly to investigate religious thuggery in my case. And I went partly out of solidarity to that Australian bar in Denpasar, Paddy's. Paddy's Pub Reloaded, as it was called by then, where all the worst actions on the island were conducted by people of faith. But I do, I guess, know what you mean. There are those who say that these Eastern practices aren't really religions. I mean, it's said of Buddhism, for example, that it isn't one. I'm in two minds about this. Most Buddhists claim that they're not religious. It's not a God business. It's a spiritual practice, if you like.
Well, in Bali, 95% of the people roughly adhere to what they call the Hindu Dharma.
Yes.
It's a blend of Hinduism, Buddhism, and ancestor worship.
Yes.
To not call that a religion is stretching the point.
No, I agree. I mean, it's more like, it seems to me more like a culture or a practice. I mean, what threats do they make against non-believers? We don't know. I mean, it's also very highly evolved. When you say, it's a bit like asking me, can I imagine England, my country of birth, or okay, anywhere else in Europe, without cathedrals? No, I can't. I absolutely can't. Or rather, if I try, I don't like the idea.
Yes, but the difference is that 95% of the population don't worship in those cathedrals, whereas in Bali, people's lives are controlled and run along this religious clock.
Yes.
It's the harvest. Yeah. There are even ways of worshipping your vehicles, your machinery.
Sure. Silly, but probably harmless. I guess what I say...
You wouldn't like to see it gone, though, would you?
No. What I say in my introduction is that all of that and more, better and worse, it's not I don't mind. I mean, how tolerant can I get? How nice do you want me to be? It's just that I may dislike it very much, but I don't expect people to give it up or want them to. I insist only that they leave me out of it, okay? That I don't have to know what they believe. That they don't want a subsidy from the government for it, that they don't try and teach it to my children, that they don't expect me to have to live under it in any way, then that's all absolutely fine. But therefore, for me, the test of religion